Hello and welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to be moving this guy, or girl. This is Queen Mom Agapanthus. And when I bought it earlier this year, it was this large. This is a very large Agapanthus. Don't know how long it was in its pot, but from what I can see, I have 1, 2, and at least 3 large groups or stems. So what I'm going to do today is dig it up, divide it. Now I don't know if I'm going to replant all of them today. We'll have to see what it looks like when it comes up, but this looks like a very strong and healthy plant. Let's start digging. If you guys have grown Agapanthus before, please leave the comments below. Let me know what you think of the plant. If you haven't grown Agapanthus before, let me know as well. The other thing I'm going to try to do today is move this bench because it's not perfectly centered or centered enough or centered the way I'd like it to be in the flower garden. So we're going to do that as well once I get this guy out of place. Now the other thing I've noticed with a lot of the Agapanthus is the roots. There's usually a lot of roots on the surface here or near the surface. You can see a bunch over there. And I'm just not sure if that's just the way it naturally does its thing or if that's just something unique maybe to my garden. Now this did flower this year, had these large white flower heads, but from what I've read, usually after you transplant it, it will not. Oh my goodness, look at this, look at these roots. I don't know if you guys can see that. Wow, a lot of roots. You can kind of see where the pot was, and then it put out a lot of these longer roots. So hopefully this is not too dark here. It is in a shady spot right here, right now. And let's see here. So I see a little one here, a bigger one. Looks like there's one here. A couple over here. So I'm going to take my hoary knife and just start gently cutting here. Another way you could do this is by using a shovel. Okay, so this is not a good cut. So obviously there's no roots here. This wasn't a good cut. It's difficult to see. What I was hoping for is to go a little further between, and yeah, that didn't happen. So I think what we're going to try here next is, hopefully you guys can see this. And this is where I'm thinking maybe making the next cut. Okay, this would be good because we have some roots. We got a bit of the crown, I guess is what you'd call it, and then the tops. One of the things I should probably do is cut these tops back, so I'll go get a pair of scissors and do that in a minute. But this should be viable, theoretically. If you think I'm wrong, please leave those comments below. You know what I'm thinking with this piece is maybe just potting it up anyways, and maybe roots will grow out of the bottom. But we'll see. Now this, theoretically, should be okay, maybe. Okay. Oh yeah, this is good. This is a real good division. I'm just trying to tease out some of the soil and loose roots. All right, so I have 2 that I'm going to repot or replant right here. This one I'm going to put into a pot and keep this in the greenhouse over the winter. And this one I'm going to try to pot up in the greenhouse and see if maybe any roots grow out of this, and this can also be a viable plant next year. But first, let me move the bench. Okay, well, my bench isn't quite centered, but I don't think the garden itself is totally square. As hard as I tried, or as hard as I tried to make the garden, the flower garden itself, as square as possible, with my limited knowledge and means, it's not exactly square, or it's not exactly centered as to where I want it. Basically, I wanted, if you were sitting in the center of the bench, you're looking down the center of the entrance, and that's not really happening. But if I move it too close towards me, now I'm off-centered of the back here, back border, or the yeah, the back border of the flower garden here. So I'm not going to keep messing with it today. That's just a waste of time. And nothing is set in stone here, but what I will do is replant my Agapanthus. And what I'm going to do is plant it right here, basically next to the bench where it was last time. I will leave myself some wiggle room in case I decide at a later date to come back and move the bench. But for now, this is where it's going to go. The other thing I'm going to do, which is what I had done initially, which I believe leads to the success of the plant, but if you think I'm wrong at any of this, because I'm a novice gardener and I don't know what I'm doing here, I'm kind of winging it. I do my homework where I can. I'm going to plant it on a little bit of a mound. And the reason being is because, from my understanding, Agapanthus do not like their feet wet. Their roots get really wet. And again, we can get torrential downpours. Doesn't have to be a tropical storm or nothing. Just regular winter storm. We can get 6 inches in 24 hours. In 48 hours, we could literally get a foot of rain. It hasn't really happened yet, but I'm pretty sure it probably has at some point in the past. I know we've gotten like 8 inches of rain in 48 hours, which is a lot. Either way, let me shut up, put down some compost. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to tilt these roots here, try to get them a little further towards the back. There we go. So I get this in the ground. Now I've got this second one here, and what I'm going to do with this one is pretty much put it right behind the other one. Back. Okay, so these two are now planted and label, and hopefully they survive the winter. Hopefully they survive my transplanting here, which I think they will. Agapanthus are pretty hardy. I've divided Agapanthus before. They seem to tolerate quite a bit. Let's go take care of those other two that I have. Real quick, what I had done, this is the piece without any roots. But I'm going to try sticking this in a pot, and we're going to see what happens long term. You can see how harshly I cut back the leaves. This may wind up putting out new roots. I don't know. I don't know enough about Agapanthus. But if you think it'll root, leave those comments below. And of course, label, so after it dies, you know what was in here. And this one has roots. I took a couple of the much longer ones off, but it is putting on some smaller roots, which hopefully you guys can see. Hopefully I'm not doing anything weird with the light here. I do apologize. It's late afternoon. But I'm going to pot this up. And of course, I'll give both of these containers a good water. You thought I forgot the label, didn't you? There we go. And this one, as well as the other one, I may bring into the greenhouse over the winter time, just to sort of baby them. The greenhouse will be a more sheltered place with warmer temperatures, and we will see what happens. That's going to wrap it up for today. If you haven't checked out the links below, please check out the links below. I think the next video might be processing or starting to process the peanuts, maybe. I don't know. I still have a very long list of things I want to get done and accomplish for the fall. Hence the reason I'm calling this 30-day period the Fall Blitz, because I'm trying to get all those little things done. I still haven't touched on cleaning the greenhouse, weeding out the flower garden. There's still plants I want to transplant and plant, and the whole long list. There's a long list. Trust me, it's really long. But I'm making progress, and this is a good thing. So today I've gotten my big Agapanthus divided and taken care of, and hopefully it all flourishes, and next year we'll have some lovely flowers, or the year after that. It may take a couple of years for it to flower after this division and transplanting, but we will see. The most important thing is, like many of my plants, it survives. With all that being said, I'm going to catch you on the next one. Bye-bye.